So, but because it is a translucent slurry, as I'll show you in a few minutes, the background color of the paver really matters. It really makes a difference. So that'll be the choice of what the selection is of the final color. It's not going to be, we're going to use this color today, smoke. That's not the color it's going to look like. And I'll show you some examples. We're going to do, I've got 4 pavers that are similar in color. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to stain 2 of them with smoke with 1 application. I'm going to show you the right way to do it. And then I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it. And then later I'm going to let that dry and come back. And then we're going to restain another one of these after it dries to show you what it looks like if you did 2 applications. In case you want to range, or you want it to be a little more darker, or you want to get rid of that background color, you have to build color. That's what you have to do. You build color by hitting it more than one time. So if you want more of that color directly versus the background that it has. So basically 3 things though. 3 things you must do or have to be successful. And one of them is absorption. You want to get a little glass of water. You want to pour it on the paver or a bottle of water and just put a little bit of water on it and see if it darkens and it's absorbing into the surface. Then it's a good candidate for us. What you don't want to see it is beat up, okay? Especially if the paver's been sealed. And basically we ask you to always do a water test because we want to make sure this process is a good candidate for you. I do want you to be successful. And to be honest with you, selfishly, I would just love to sell kits. I love to sell kits all day long. But I just feel terrible if you buy a kit, hey, the pavers are sealed, no one told me to do a water test, and it doesn't work, and it's your hard-earned money. I don't want to see you waste it. But I like to partner in success. I do. I try to come across and be really honest. So do the water test. Make sure it's a good candidate, because if it gets dark and wet, you can change the color of those pavers. But you need the other 2 things. It has to be applied the right way. And we're going to show you how easy that is. It really is easy to do, but this is the way to do it. You don't want to overload the paver. And I'll show you the wrong way to do it, because many times people are thinking, I'm just going to overload that paver, hoping it's going to soak in later and it's going to make things better. No, whatever sits on the surface and dries, it doesn't get embedded into the pore structure of the paver, it's going to wash off. You're going to see it wash off in the rain. You might be able to wipe it off with your hands. We're going to show you what not to do and what to do to be successful. So that's the second thing to do. It's got to be applied the right way. It cannot be applied like a paint or paint like thinking. Can't do it. Can't do it. So we're going to try to help you with that because we want you to be successful. And then the third thing, it's got to be applied in the right conditions. So we need clean, got to get rid of the dirt, got to clean. We're going to get into more detail about that later. But we also need to have dry, and the temperatures need to be warm, at least above 50, 60 degrees. Normally the sun's on the pavers anyhow, they warm up pretty well. Sometimes they get too hot, right? But basically you want dry and warm. So we don't want to be in 25 degrees out, might be a nice sunny day. No, we want dry and warm conditions. So do the right conditions, apply it the right way to absorptive masonry. We have one of the best products for you that there is in the market today. It's proprietary, it's more of a translucent slurry, and it does graduable. So I would always tell you 1/2 cup to 1 cup at a time. You can stain quite a few pavers with it. The product actually goes a long ways. So I already took the seals off just to make it a little bit easier and save a little bit of time with it. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to fill up 1/2 cup. I'll set that aside. Actually, I'm going to do 2½ teaspoons, and we do level teaspoons for control. So when I think of it as a control, basically what we're trying to do is be as accurate as we can so you can remake the mixes every time you need to do it. So basically we're just going to do 2½ teaspoons, and we level them off. So we can be as exact as we can. That helps us in our control. We give you a popsicle stick just to help level off with. And then stir. So you want to stir it. It's not a paint, it's a very translucent product that you see. So basically we're going to show you how to do the pavers the right way. But you want to stir it up pretty good, give it a minute or so. Let all that pigment dilute and mix in. And then basically we're going to always strain the brush really well. You got to remember pavers are different because of gravity than it is staining a vertical wall, okay? So basically it's the same process, but what we're going to do with pavers. So you got to stir, and then it's ready to go. So we could actually start staining right now, which is really nice. Basically, I want you to stir every time you dip the brush. Every time you dip the brush, you stir. It's not a paint. There's nothing in it to suspend everything like a paint does. So the pigments slightly settle all the time as they sit or they go. So you stir every time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drain the brush. And what we want to do is we want to drain the brush in the side of the cup, and we drain real good because we don't want it too heavy. What I want to do is I want to feed it into the paver. So basically we're going to start and we're going to go across the paver and we're gonna do overlapping brush strokes. And we do overlapping brush strokes so we don't leave lines. And then we go this way, and then we can come back and go this way. And basically that's all we need to do to stain a paver. And let that get absorbed in, and it goes really nice, okay? And what I wanna do today for you, and you can put the brush back in the thing and said, I'm gonna actually stain 2 pavers and hit them both once. And then I'm gonna go back and we're gonna let it dry, and I'm gonna re-hit the paver again to have a second application. The paver doesn't seal, it's still naturally breathable. So we can hit it multiple times if we wanna kill that background. You want less of that background because the background's gonna play a part in everything we do. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna stir again, I'm gonna drain, and I'm draining the brush really good. I'm not draining this way. I don't wanna flick anybody or flick the pavers or patio or whatever. And then I'm just gonna simply do overlapping brush strokes. And I flip the brush. It's a slurry, it's always moving, but you don't have to. But I flip the brush, it's just it has a habit. But we just do overlapping brush strokes, and that's all we need to do. And those brick are just perfectly stained. And so I have 2 of those. And we're gonna set those there and let those dry. And then what we'll do is show you what not to do. So what many people do, or a few people have done over times, what they think is, I'm just gonna apply it like paint. I just wanna go and apply it. So they really don't stir. They take it, they dip their brush in, and they might hit a little bit, but what they do is they slap it on heavy, and they really put it on heavy as far as the application goes. And they're thinking, wow, I'm gonna put it on like with paint like thinking. And they slap it on, and then they think, okay, well that's good. And what they're thinking is, they're not horrible, but they're thinking is, I put this stuff on, I'm gonna put it on heavy and get it really to soak in. It's gonna soak in and look great, I love it. So it's gonna look more the merrier. In this case, it's not. Masonry has absorption. Brick, and this is concrete, they're concrete pavers. They're only gonna drink so much. They're only gonna absorb so much. So what you wanna do is, we're using this is by the way, this is 100% polyester brush. So this brush is only a carrier agent to get the slurry on the pavers. That's all it's meant to do. So it's not gonna be like a horsehair brush or some of these more expensive brushes where it's gonna hold this stuff. You don't want that. You want that we just wanna transfer from here to there. So basically what we're looking for to happen is, we wanna get it absorbed in and embedded in the pavers. This paver versus this paver, these pavers are gonna outlast this paver all day long in the color. And this might come out a little bit darker when we see it. But what happens is, whatever sits on the surface and dries on the surface, it's gonna wash off when it rains. Or you go to rinse the pavers off and use a water hose and all that, you see it come off. Or you might be able to wipe it off with your hands sometimes. That's what you want to worry about. We want to get embedded. So if you want it to a little more coating and kill the background, then we're going to have to hit them again. That's just a 2-step application. It's okay, we do it. Sometimes we give it to give range. Right now, this system is designed for just one color change. You could choose to do multiple colors too, and we'll show you that later. But basically what we're going to do is one color change, and if you want to have a slight range, or you might have range in your pavers. If you have natural range in your pavers, just hitting them once will still have a natural range to it. This is not going to blanket, it's not going to be opaque, it's translucent. So I hope that's just helpful, what to do and what not to do. Hey, we're back. It's been about 30 minutes now, and the pavers have all dried. This is the one that we stained the wrong way. In fact, I purposely didn't stain the edge of it so I would know that that was the paver we stained the wrong way. But just looking at it, it's just got overkill, too much coating. A lot of it dried on the surface and didn't coat in. These are the pavers that we did. This is the before. We haven't stained this one, unstained. And then that's both with one application each. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stain one more paver the right way. And we're gonna build a little more color on it to show you what it looks like when it does twice. And then later at the end of this, we'll put the 2 together. This one will be stained twice. Stain it once, let it dry, and stain again. And that one will be stained 1 time. But then you can see what the color change is different. Again, it's been setting the stain. We just stir it up good. We drain the brush good because we want to just feed it in, nothing left. So, and we just do overlapping brush strokes. That's it. And we'll show you at the end of the video what that looks like. Hit once and hit twice.